Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio this week with Bryan Leonard and Preston, the Sports Cheetah. We're going to break down Green Bay, Arizona. Guys, I got to tell you, the four games, we're going to be talking one that's got some definite injury situations, but this one's probably the one that gives me the most problems because once again, like we talked about last week with the Seattle-Minnesota game, you've got a quick revenge game that was a total lopsided score the first meeting. But the one thing it's different here is the team that lost Minnesota last week to Seattle, they were at home when they lost. They're at home again. This is the same situation, but Green Bay's back on the road. It's a little harder to get that revenge on the road, guys. What do you think about this one?
I think they got some confidence out of playing Washington last week. That line fluctuated, 1-point favorites, pick them the whole week. But keep in mind, just a couple of weeks ago, they played and Arizona crushed them. But Green Bay had a more important game on deck when they were playing Minnesota. That was more important for them. So don't read too much into that. It's similar to the Seattle game when they played Minnesota just a few weeks ago also. But I don't know if I'm going to buy into the Green Bay. The offense last week only gave up 1 sack, but I believe they gave up 8 last time they played Arizona, and that was just a few weeks ago. So now, are they going to be able to make the adjustments with a fresher team in Arizona to keep the quarterback upright? Obviously, I don't expect them to get 8 more sacks, but to put the pressure on the quarterback is a major thing with Green Bay, especially when he's feeling a little bit better about himself.
Well, obviously that was a confidence builder, but as we said last week, and one of the reasons why I was on Green Bay last week is until Kirk Cousins showed me that he could do it in a big game situation, I'm not going to buy into what Washington was doing. They played a soft schedule, and they were on the benefit of the turnovers, and they had big leads in all of their games down the stretch, and they had a lead in this one as well, and it looked like, oh, here we go again, 11-0, and sitting there having Green Bay, and when it was 11-0, and Washington really had a chance to step on their throats in that game and didn't do it. We've all watched enough football games, and Preston, you're a guy that loves to bet in game. Yeah. You could see that when they didn't deliver the knockout punch, you know Green Bay is going to make that run. And Aaron Rodgers got in a groove, and away they went. And one thing that they did last week, uncharacteristically, Green Bay was able to run the football. They rushed the football last week for 141 yards. That was a big part of it. It took some of the pressure off that offensive line and him not getting sacked. Preston, what did you take from the game?
Yeah, and so it was actually at that exact moment I tweeted out, Green Bay was plus 10.5 live, and we played the over 44.5 live. It was a perfect spot to jump in. You expect the Packers offense to get going. To, I guess, go back to the run game, they're not going to run that well against the Cardinals' run defense. The other thing I guess I would look at is they've been playing from behind in a lot of games, and in this case they were ahead for a lot, so they actually were able to run the ball. And I guess they said a lot more carries rushing the ball, and that kind of attributes to that 141 number. Ultimately, what I caught and got from that Washington game, though, I'm kind of with Bryan. I don't know if it really means, Green Bay's back. But if you've watched kind of Aaron Rodgers the last few weeks, and especially in that first quarter of this game, his attitude and demeanor is like really down. He's extremely frustrated, and you can see it on a television, let alone, the sidelines. And it flipped in those, 2.5 quarters in that Washington game, and he was positive again. His head was up. He was complimenting players, even though there was a few drops, like we had kind of predicted would happen because it'd been happening all year for the Packers. It seemed like he just kind of approached handling that, in a better way. And I'm kind of looking for that like psychological stuff all the time, and I'm trying to like read how players are reacting to things happening on the field. And that's one thing I think I would say. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is feeling a little more confident. And that's one of the couple guys in the world that probably with whoever's going, if we're going out for passes, he'll get us the ball probably. And so, if he's feeling like he was in that second half against Washington and he's slinging it around, the Cardinals are going to have a tough time stopping him too. I hit an early opener on the over. It's moved up now. I think it's at 49.5. I still think it's going to be a lot of points. I think the Cardinals, going back now to them and their offense, the Packers defense isn't very good. We've known that. They've kind of been average all year. But the Cardinals one of the best offenses. I think it might be the best offense in the league this year. So we'll see points.
Surprisingly, Green Bay has held 13 of 17 opponents this year to 23 points or less, which is uncharacteristic of Green Bay. Normally, they're in high-scoring games, but part of it's been, like you said, maybe a production of Green Bay's been behind, so teams that are facing them aren't in attack mode in the second half. They're trying to protect leads against Green Bay, and that might lead to why a lower point production. We got to wrap this one up, guys. you're leaning to the over, I guess, would
Yeah.
be your
If I made a
edge.
play in this game, it'll be over.
Brian?
Well, it's currently at 7. The sharp books are showing that it's going down a little bit, so I'm going to wait till the 6.5, and then I'll lay it. I like to play teams, the better team with an extra week to prepare. And like I said, the Green Bay is not as good as they looked last week. It's a different caliber opponent here.
I'll just say two things about Arizona. They have the best coach in football, in my opinion, since the year that he took over in Indianapolis as the interim, filling in to the, since he's been at Arizona. Nothing but winning there. And they really might have been the best team in the NFL last year if Carson Palmer didn't get hurt. And they just carried it this year. So they're on a 2-year run, this Arizona Cardinal team, and I think they can get it done. I agree with you, Brian. I like Arizona in this one. Hey, guys, head on over to WagerTalk.com. Weekend all access. Get your favorite capper. Get all of his plays, football, basketball, everything he releases, including a big 5% play if they have it, all for $69. Check it out at WagerTalk.com. We'll be back with more videos here at WagerTalk.com.